Okay, welcome back to another episode of That Makes Games. And as you can see, one of my kids is still crying that she has a diaper issue. This kind of things can happen if you have kids, and you will get used to it. So today I wanted to continue where I left off in yesterday about my this WebGL game, the Galactic Greenhouse. And yesterday was a productive day for me in order to progress about this game. And as I read through my to-do lists, I see that there is a bug about plant drop zone in here that it says null reference error, and a problem is because of this line of code, because the script is trying to find that trying to reach out a plant raise zone component, as you can see here, when it chooses a raycast, when it generates a raycast underneath the cube. So let's start by fixing this thing and then continue on the game development further on. Let's get into I grab it. When I drop it over here, this thing is called. This is probably inside this drop item thing. In order to resolve this issue, I can just put a plant raise zone script over here, but I needed to make some arrangements with that code, or I can write out a new script. Okay, let's continue with making a new script about plant drop zone. This will be the paths, this will be the area when the plants are raised, and this is like a delivery zone for the raised plants. So this is the plant raise zone, this component plant drop zone. Let's just save this and check that if the guy likes the okay. It's still getting this error because the target plant raise zone does not have any get temperature. Oh, set temperature text, set temperature text. Set temperature text is called from here. Okay, let's just add another else statement for here. If pot over plant raise zone transform is not null, is null, and do this. And if that's not null, and if the compare tag is, let's see, plant raise zone, and do this. And if this is add another tag for plant drop zone, and drop zone, and do that. Otherwise, log warning. Yes, that's the thing I'm looking for. Log warning, or just log error. A cube is neither on the plant raise zone nor on the plant drop zone. Something is wrong. And let's just try this line of code. When I grab it, when I drop it over plant raise zone, it's nice. Grab it and drop it over the plant drop zone. It's having an error. So the problem is over plant drop zone. Okay, I see this debug log and get pot over plant. Okay, this is fine. I can use this line. Local transform, okay. And the line I needed to change is this thing. Pot placed over, pot placed or drop placed over zone. Probably logic void effect pot handle pot logic that is placed over drop zone. And this is fine. And I needed to go. Let's just add a debug log for a pot placed over drop zone, and the interaction of this pot should be handled here. But okay, let's just try this line of code, and I go and grab my cube, drop it over here. It's nice, and when I place it over the drop zone, yes, I can see the line of code. I can see the debug log that I'm looking for. I wish I had. And also, this pod script should have a boolean for sorry about this. Let me just grab a water. Pot is raised, or pot is growth. Plant is being growth, and at the beginning, this plant has been growth should be false, and the plant growth should be checked here. If plant has been growth is true, then log plant has been growth. Okay, else otherwise plant has debug.log plant has been growth. If plant has been growth is false, nothing should be happened, nothing should happen. But if plant has been growth is true, then I can set this game object to false. False. See that the plant has been growth and it's delivered. And then what else I can do in here is that I need a functionality that this plant is growth. This is the pots, and let's just add a check if the plant has been growth. Okay, the plant growing should be handled by serialize fields, and I will probably need a float value, pot as pot target temperature. And if the pot target temperature has been reached, that temperature text will be pot target temperature. If pot temperature equals to pot target temperature, then plant has been growth should be true, else plant has been growth should be false. So let's see the application for this. Okay, let me just duplicate this cube, duplicate the pot and drop zone, plant raise zone, and here is my pot. Right now I have two pots, and the target temperature for the first pot, let's say this is 20 degree, and let's say this is 15 degrees Celsius. So when I place it, I grab it, I drop it over here, and it's now 20 degrees. But when I get the pots over there, it drops the temperature. It should not, actually. If the pot is already grown, it should not decrease the temperature. And if plant has been growth, what does plant has been growth mean? Plant has been grown. Should be like this. And if plant has been grown, let's just return this script and set large plant is already grown. Also, I can change the color of this. Let's just add a material for grown pot material, and let's just set this something greenish. And if the plant has been grown, pots is get components, render, and this render should have a material, and set this material to target temperature material. Okay, and also let's set this something greenish. This, drop it over here. It's 20 degree, but okay, I cannot drop it over there. Minus 20. Okay, I broke some logic. And let's just grab it. Float placed over this zone. Okay, float value in here. And let's see in debug mode that plant has been grown, which is the thing I'm looking for, and it's looking nice. It said the plant has been grown to true. Okay, let's just add same logic over here. Affect pot, unaffect pot temperature. I grab the cube and place it over here. When I grab it again, drop it again, it's now 20 degree. Restore another thing, and yeah, the temperature is not changing anymore because the plant is grown. When I drop it over the drop zone, and it disappears. But after disappearing, the grab or drop button, grab button, drop button, disappears. And where are these buttons? Grab button, drop button, over here. Player sensor. Okay, let's just add a reference for the player sensor for the pods. Player sensor, because I will finally at the end I will just have only one player sensor inside my game, and if the plant has been grown, let's just go over the player sensor and call the awake function, which is basically disables the buttons, or just disable grab and drop buttons. Maybe in the future I will update this awake functionality, and I just wanted to keep my future problems list, so I added this disable grab and drop button, and this should just work fine. And let's try it. Go over here, grab it, drop it over here, and it's only 50 degrees. And when I get it back, okay, there is another problem with the unaffect, I guess. How about just adding a value of 0 or here without any text mesh, or 0 degree, but not on the okay, and also set this color like this, or maybe just place it a little downwards, grab it, drop it, 20 degree, 40 degree, okay, and hot temperature and raise zone temperature. Placed over zone. Yes, this is placed over zone. And do I have any reference about the zone? Okay, how about this? If pots plants raise zone transform compare tag is equals to this plant drop zone, then return the functionality over here and keep the next lines of code untouched. Grab it, drop it here, grab it again, put it here. Temperature is not changing. Grab it over here, it's 20 degrees, it's not changing, and it's 15 degrees. I can just grab it and drop it over. Oh, okay. I figure out the problem. When I raise the cube and when I trace, no, it's working. Plant has been grown through it. What's wrong with you? I can drop it on the floor. Somehow I needed to. Okay, something is wrong. I grab it. I can drop it. Okay, that's fine. Grab it, drop it. I placed it over here. Drop it. It's 15 degrees. Okay, I can apply. place it over here, and it's nice. I grab it. When I place it over there, however, the grab button is not disappeared. Is not disappeared because this line of code should be here, not there. Over here, I grab it and I drop it over JSON. I grab it, place it over this cube and get it again. Drop over here, but yes, this is the third time I make the same mistake. It's over here, drop it, and the plant has been raised. Grab it again and drop it over the zone. However, plant has been grown is true. Set the game object to false, and this should already call disable grab and drop buttons. It does not call disable grab and drop buttons because I can see my grab and drop buttons. Let me just check the pods again for the references. Okay, it has reference for this and I grab it. When I drop it over here, item grabbed is null and pod placed over the zone. Pod placed over zone. Placed over zone should be false because the spot is disabled. Let's return a boolean as public. Boolean get plant has been grown and return this value plant has been grown to player sensor. Before handling the logic, is the plant already grow and set this to pods dots get plant has been grown. If the plant is already grown, and disable the buttons. Buttons handle pod logic, and the pods placed over zone should be false because there will be no pod anymore. Otherwise, keep the same logic and pod placed over the zone to true. Also, I needed to nullify that item that can be grabbed. False or null. Grab the unraised plant and drop it over the raised zone. It's nothing. Okay, when I drop it over the zone, okay, after I raised it and place it over here, buttons does not disable. Why? Why don't you? And already raised logic. I'm having a problem with this logic. Okay, let's grab it, drop it over here and grab it again and let's place it over the zone. But the buttons does not. They will grab drop buttons. Yes, these are already set to false. How about now? I forgot the line of code at the end. Grab it, raised it. Okay, I cannot grab it back. Okay, I have 2 bugs. Let's just report these 2 bugs. The first bug is that, let's not forget those. Bug is that if a pod is placed over another zone and player tries to go and grab another pod, null reference error appears. Second bug is that if the player continuously presses grab and drop buttons, an issue arises. So these are the 2 bugs, and I'm still not trying to solve those ones, but first thing I want to see that why placed over gray zone. I grab it, I can drop it over here. What is not placed over raise zone. Okay, there is no problem with that. Drop it over here. And the button does not disappears. What was the last change I make? Probably this line of code. Grab it, drop it. So why does this line of code has this effect? If pot is not placed over raise zone. Okay, let's just add a return line in here to see that I can grab it, I can drop it, and grab it again. And when I place it over here, it's looking fine. I can grab the another pot over here. I can raise the another one. And since the plant is already raised, yes, this is looking nice. Grab it, drop it anywhere. Can grab it. Okay, this is the bug I'm facing. So let's look at the bug list. Let's just continuously try to press, grab, and drop button. Okay, continuously pressing a grabbing and dropping button is because of my mistake. Let's just look over this bug. So when a pot is grabbed and it's placed over another zone and I try to grab another pot, I will see a pot is placed over zone. If both of the buttons are set to false, but actually the pot placed over zone value not be located inside the player sensor. It should be located inside the pot. Let's just move this pot placed over zone boolean to here. And if pot placed over zone, get big boolean get pot placed over zone and set this as return pot place. Also public boolean set pot placed over zone with a boolean and pot placed over zone is to boolean and this should be void. So pot placed over zone pot and boolean pot placed over zone will be called from pot get pot placed over zone. And if pot placed over zone at the end, set pot placed over zone to false. Also pot set pot placed over zone to false in here again. Also set pot placed over zone to true here. So let's set pot placed over zone to false in here and set this to true here. Okay, let's see that what kind of 20 degrees. Okay, it looks like the general functionality is working nice. So let's just place this pot over this zone and try to get the next one. Yes, I can grab the other one and let's just drop it over here. Grab it, drop it. This is why the solid principles are the must-have that you need to consider inside your game. Because if you do not consider them, as you can see previously, you will have problems at the end about the functionality of your game. And as you can see, yes, I see the same error. As you can see, I managed to resolve this bug with just getting a boolean not related to this player sensor component into where it belongs. Because if the boolean is, or if the value belongs to another, belongs to where it should be, as in this case, the pod placed over zone should be located inside this pod value, because I will have more than one pods inside my game, and if I want to track down and set the value and change the value of this thing, of this boolean from other scripts as in previous, I faced with some errors. But if I get the set and get parameters inside this item, I will have less hard time in order to, while developing my game. So this is one of the solid functionality. I guess the thing is the thin, no, solid. Visco substitute, interface not, dependency inversion not. I guess I'm not really sure about which solid low it's suited on. But yeah, if at the end, if a value related to pod should be inside the pod script. If a pod script, if a value related to pod script is located inside the player sensor script, you will have problems. You just need to keep the scripts tidy. So I just want to look at this error again, because this is the second time I faced with it, and I'm trying to remake it. Cube is neither. How can I manage to do this? Neither over the plant zone or plant term zone. Something is wrong. While dropping the item, if item that can be grabbed is null. Okay, it can be grabbed. Get component pods. Okay, get pods over plant zone transform. Over zones. Okay, how can I? Here is my another bug. When I grab it and drop it over this zone, and if I try to get the second cube over there, and yeah, I will have a hard time. So I will need it to be sure that if the zone is already taken, if the zone is already filled, how can I get it? Drop item, plant raise zone, item, put over, plant raise zone. Put over plant raise zone. And if this plant raise zone has a boolean but is already taken, I will need a boolean is put already over it. That is put already over it, and public boolean get is a put already over it. Return is a put already, and set this value. So if a pod is placed over, okay, while I'm trying to drop this item, this is my pod, and if my pods get pod placed over, no, pods get pod over, trace transform is not null, which is over here. And see, okay, this script starts to be getting a little disturbing. Pod is not null, and get transform dot get component of plant dropzone or raise zone, plant raise zone transform raise zone, and get what is over it. Okay, this script is really ugly right now. This through and kill the function here. Evoke that look. A pod is already located inside that zone. There is no way to drop pods over there. So, and another thing I needed to implement is over here is that get pod over. Okay, item grab transform parent. This is the zone. Okay, let's set it here and item grab transform parent dot get component and raise zone and set is a pod already over it to true, and at this line also over here something like that. It's changing. Is the plant already grow? I needed to set this to false, and over here I need to set this to true. Get, and that is a pot already over here. There is no plant raise zone, it says. No, this guy has a plant raise zone in here. This is my pot, and this is the parent of this pot. Okay, I needed to do this before nullifying this item grabbed. Grab it, drop it, drop it. Functional seems working. Okay, a pot is already located because after grabbing the pot, this is for the drop item. Item grabbed. Transform parents. This transform parents. Item that can be grabbed. Okay. If item that can be grabbed. Get components. Can be grabbed. Item that can be grabbed. That's parents. Transform that parents. Or transform that gets component in parents has a plant raise zone, then this plant raise zone should set is the pot already over it to false. Drop it, grab it, drop it over the next one. I cannot drop the pot over the same place. Is the pot already over it? I see that is a pot already over it. Okay, I grab it, and after dropping it, a pot is already over it. And after grabbing the same, okay, something is wrong with this grab functionality. If the item grabbed, also get component in parents. Okay, what is the item grabbed? This item grabbed is located inside this player sensor. Item grabbed is this pot drop, and item grabbed is this pot again. But the problem is that the parent of this item grabbed is changed in here. So if I move this line of code in here, grab it, right now I can drop it over here and drop it over here. And I get it, I can drop it over here, but I cannot drop it over there. So how about here? I see that. Okay, I cannot place it. Let's just set here. Where I see this error? Why I see this error? Yeah, I do not understand the reason for this error. I can grab it. It looks like it's happening really on the border. I cannot manage to replicate this error. That's why I do not understand the reason behind this. If pots get pot over plants on drop item, somehow item that can be grabbed get component of the pot is becoming null. Pot becomes null. Let's just add a if pot is null and return over here. Just kill the function in here and I should no more see this error. But I do not understand the reason behind it. Okay, I again managed to get this. Else if get pot over pot dot get pot over and rainstorm transform is null. Pot dot gets pot over and rainstorm transform is not null. Maybe the reason. If this is null, I do not understand. I do not understand the reason behind it. Let's just investigate for. Let's just set this to investigate for tomorrow morning. A bug for in layer sensor while trying to drop a cube, drop a pot near the borders of the code near the borders of dropzone. I'm suspicious about this update loop and the physics loop is not working on the same, so I will just investigate it tomorrow morning and let's save it for here. And that's all for today, and this one is also a productive day, and I hope to see you on tomorrow morning. Have a nice day, have a great working day or wherever you are, or have a great day at the end, and see you later. Bye.